Just a bit of context. We've been together for 2 years. He has 2 kids. I have 1 kid, irrelevant to this story. We live apart. I bought a home a few months before we started dating, and are together only when our kids are with their other parents. He's the guy that has treated me the best of all my relationships, and I love him dearly. I'm a chronically anxious and stressed person, and he's absolutely my peace. But today, he sucker punched me with this. He's absolutely convinced I'm cheating on him. The reason he suddenly started thinking this is because 2 days ago I wanted to show him something on my phone. There was an irrelevant tab opened, my Hotmail account that is full of spam. I have had this account for the past 24 years but mostly use my Gmail. He saw, quickly in passing, that there was a folder with a man's name, let's say James. I don't remember the purpose of this folder, it's empty. I haven't touched it in 15 years, no idea why it exists. It was probably useful at some point, but no idea. Well, now he's convinced that. I closed the tab too quick. I was acting weird and nervous and suspicious. This means I've cheated or I am actively cheating. That's his perspective. Now, on to the actual truth. I am absolutely not cheating on him. He's the man of my dreams, love of my life. I have never ever given him a reason to even suspect I'm cheating. I spent one entire week with him at his place, never hid my phone, anything like that. When I'm at my house, it means I'm with my kiddo, and my time is 100% devoted to her. I also work a lot. There is not a single second in my life where I would have time to devote to any other person, even through email. I spend my downtime at home being with kiddo and the cat, watching YouTube videos. I send him a lot of pictures of me chilling with my cat as well, and we have a constant communication going. I'm very chatty through text. Anyways, at first I was super pissed and also confused because why on earth would you not trust me? What is happening? No matter what I say, he says I don't make any sense whatsoever, and he's just adding 1 plus 1, and to him, the answer is 2. I keep telling him that he's the one not making any sense. We're back and forth on the texting. He doesn't even want to speak over the phone or come over to talk about it. I've sent him numerous screenshots of my email with unopened emails that go back more than a year. I've sent screenshots of me typing the keyword James in the email and nothing coming up. I've shown him the completely empty sent folder, which to me is weird. I've sent numerous emails over the years. Why is it empty? And I've also given him the login and password so he can look for himself. I've accumulated a lot of junk in that email over the many years I've had it, but rarely use it now. It is just a receptacle of all my Amazon orders, my McDonald's app receipts, and various spam emails. I'm pissed he doesn't trust me. He says he needs time to think. I'm stuck in a loop of pissed, confused, and sad. What's going on? Help some comments. Commenter. Is this incredibly out of character for him? Or has he always been a bit jealous and suspicious? Could he be the one cheating and protecting? Original poster replied, "This is wildly out of character. I am unsure if he would be projecting his own cheating. Anything is possible, but I'd hope not. I don't believe so. He's high libido and we have intimacy daily when we're together, which is every other week. Except when one of us is sick. I give him everything he needs in that department, and all the other departments as well. We take good care of each other typically." Commenter. I hear so many stories about stuff like this happening on Reddit. I feel like most people would say, he's projecting, and he's the one cheating and just trying to push the blame on you. You're the only one outside of him who truly knows this relationship. Has there been anything else going on in the relationship as of late? Original poster replied, "Nothing. Everything is fine. We're great. We have excellent communication, we talk through things, never have a fight, never scream at each other. We're very loving physically, but we can also coexist quietly in the same space doing our own thing. It's truly, truly amazing typically. This is completely bonkers to me right now." Original poster clarifies, I told him I understood where he was coming from, and I am willing to work through this with him. He has full access to everything he ever wants, whenever he wants. I have shown myself to be trustworthy to a fault. When I say, haven't touched, I'm not sure if it's a translation thing. I just mean I have not used it as my primary email in a very long time, and the email is only used as an inbox for receipts and useless crap. Update 4 days later. So, it did not end well. After 48 hours of back and forth through text, because he refused to even speak to me over the phone or face-to-face, and me giving him my password so he can go check for himself that nothing was fucky, He still wouldn't back down. At this point, his behavior was concerning, and I thought he may have a mental episode going on. It was getting too much. He was texting me at all hours of the night trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense in the first place. So I blocked him. When he realized that he sent me emails at work email, asking me to check my hotmail, which had nothing different in it. When I blocked his email, he decided to message my best friend and telling her, "If I can't talk to her, I'll go through you instead." My friend has literally nothing to do whatsoever with this whole thing. She never replied and is sticking with me because she's also seeing how crazy he's acting. So I thought that was that. Yesterday at work, I was visibly sad and distressed. And my whole team hugged me, offered support, and I had lunch with my other good friend and colleague. So the day goes by, I get off work at 4. I am walking to my car in the parking lot flanked by 2 colleagues, and I'm kind of explaining the whole story. They go to one of the girls' cars because they carpool. I walk towards my own car, which is parked 2 rows away. I hear a loud man's voice behind me. I turned around, and it's him. He's walking very quickly towards me and still talking nonsense about emails. I hold my hand up and say, "I'm not doing this with you right now," all the while calculating whether I am safe to go to my car. He was screaming at me that I was a whore, a slut. I've never seen him like this before at all. A little energy pushed me to turn around and go to my colleague's car. At this point, I'm shaking and scared. I enter her car and start hyperventilating. They're like, "We'll drive you home." He was about 6 feet from the car, hate in his eyes, motioning me to get out of the car. We drove off. I kept apologizing to them, crying and looking behind us the whole trip to make sure he wasn't following. When I came home, my mother was there. I broke down and she called the cops. A nice officer told me over the phone, "I got nothing else going on right now. You're my priority, and I'm coming to you as soon as I can." He came to my home, took my deposition, was extremely patient and understanding, and explained everything that he was going to do after. My ex was placed under arrest for criminal harassment with certain conditions to follow. Not sure about the legal terms here, but they did not handcuff him or take him to jail. It was just a verbal thing, and he will probably be summoned in court at a later date. I have a good network of people who care, and I believe I'm safe. Thanks, everyone. Some comments. Commenter. Just because they have malignant hyperthermia issues, clearly here, it doesn't mean you have to feel 1 ounce of sympathy or guilt because whatever is going on. It destroyed any chance of them being allowed in your life anymore. Original poster replied, "Thank you. I needed to hear this. I am angry at him, but sometimes during the day I have small bouts of thoughts like, did I overreact? Am I being too harsh with having him arrested? And I have huge regrets about it. But then I realize, hey, the actual officer of the law told me he had enough motive to literally arrest him, so I'm doing the right thing." Commenter. But knowing my ex, that's just a facade, and he's probably absolutely boiling with rage inside. Can you talk about this a little more? You describe him only using positive traits, but if you know he's probably absolutely boiling with rage inside, that speaks to you knowing he has a temper. I'm not asking to be snarky, but it may be helpful to see if his behavior is not as out of character as you initially thought. Original poster replied, "I understand what you mean. Yes, he did have a temper, but never ever directed at me personally. Usually he would be mad at the mother of his children for mishandling a situation regarding the kids, and would go on a rant about how much of a cunt she is. But towards me, the sweetest guy there ever was. I guess I didn't think that it would happen to me, but isn't that how it usually goes? Never thought I'd be on the receiving end of it. Mini update edit. I just had a 2-hour conversation with his ex, let's call her Jess. Not the mother of his kids, but the girl he dated between the kid's mother and me. A very interesting conversation. She has lived exactly the same situation as me, minus the calling the cops. She told me he was ultra controlling, physically and verbally abusive to his 2 sons, a bad drug habit, an unhealthy, borderline inappropriate relationship with the mother of his children, and he was psychologically and sensually abusive towards Jess. She told me he used to put her on a pedestal, same as me, but he had a lot of behavior problems that I've noticed but chose to ignore just because I loved him so much. I hope he gets the help he needs. Mini update next day. He's following me. Saw him twice today where he shouldn't have been. Documented that to the police station. They're super nice and understanding, thank God. Original poster checked in a few days ago to share that she is okay. So far, so good. Nothing worthy to mention since the second update. I have many people in the hospital I work at offer to walk me to my car. I am never alone. I am actually safer at work than at home. Everyone has been wonderful. Editor's note, one more time for the people in the back. Original poster clarified, my ex was going on and on about exactly what you're saying. For context, I've had this email since I was 15 years old, and back way before Snapchats and Messengers and even Gmail. Hotmail is how we communicated. I have at least 10 folders there, including the one I used with my ex-husband, the father of my child, not the current partner. And his folder is still named Babe. That's how much I don't give a damn care about that email. And yes, I open it sometimes because A, it's my Facebook-associated email B. I log in on Poshmark with Facebook C. I get Poshmark-related communications there. I don't use that email other than Poshmark, Amazon, and McDonald's receipts. So, yes, sometimes it is logged in, but I haven't sent an actual email from there in years. And the mysterious James could have easily been either a young fling or a client when I was a wedding photographer. Seriously, no idea.
I'm going to write a fair bit of backstory because I think it's relevant. I met my boyfriend on Tinder in the beginning of my freshman year of college. I was a very naive 18-year-old. I'd been on dates, but I'd never been in a relationship, and I hadn't even had my first kiss yet. I was pretty miserable my first couple of weeks after moving in, and so I got Tinder, and there I matched with a bunch of guys who went to my school. One of them I thought was pretty attractive. He was a junior and a brother in a good but notorious frat. He told me to come to his frat's party, so I went with some girls I'd met at orientation. There he took me upstairs and we made out, but I think he could tell I was very inexperienced, so nothing more happened. I pretty much fell in love with him, even though we'd said about 3 words to each other. I didn't see him until a couple of weeks later when he invited me to a party he was throwing. I was expecting us to at least hook up, but when we got there, he was clearly with another girl, and there were tons of other random girls who I assume he was also hooking up with. I was naive but not an idiot, so I forced myself to get over it, and I didn't see him until my spring semester, when I drank too much and he ended up at my dorm, and I lost my virginity to him. I didn't see him again until the fall semester of my sophomore year. We hooked up the first week we were back on campus. I still didn't catch feelings again, though, until we started to hook up regularly every week. At that point, I was again pretty much in love with him, although this time I did have reasons beyond just him being a large, attractive, popular man. We weren't dating, but we got to know each other, and I saw his many virtues. However, it was still clear to me that he wasn't into me in that way, and that I was one of a number of women he was sleeping with, so I didn't say anything, and I kept it casual. He also had a pretty terrible reputation as a playa, even amongst his frat brothers. His Instagram comments were usually filled with them saying things like, "horniest man alive," and all 2,500 of his followers are his girlfriends. He graduated at the end of that spring semester, and we saw each other one last time before. It was incredibly intimate, and really cemented everything I felt for him. So after we both left campus, I confessed to him that I really liked him, and that I wasn't okay with just hooking up with him anymore, for my own sanity. Miraculously, he said he also had feelings for me, and he asked me out on a real date. We started dating and have been together since, and the whole time has been healthy and happy for us. Last Thursday was our 1-year anniversary of becoming official. He got me an incredibly thoughtful gift basket, including some jewelry, a painting, and a card. In the card, though, was a printed picture of a pros and cons list on a whiteboard. He explained to me that he saw my confessional message when he was hanging out with his brother. My BF said he really didn't know what to do and wasn't sure if he wanted anything more with me, but he was tired of sleeping around and wanted a stable relationship. So his brother said he should make a pros and cons list about me, and he did. Here's a paraphrase of the list. Pros: cute, great ass, good in bed, horny, likes me a lot, sweet, lots of friends, doesn't go out too much. Close to her family, really smart and academically successful, good future ahead of her, and definitely not a gold digger, would do wifey duties. Cons, kind of a slut, met on Tinder, frat rat, blacks out a lot, doesn't care a lot about her appearance, kind of nerdy. Based on that, he apparently decided to ask me out to dinner and then decide what to do based on how it went, and it went well enough that we started dating. He showed it to me with nothing but good intentions, but I was absolutely floored for obvious reasons. I have been pretending to be sick since then as I figure out what to do. On the one hand, he is my dream man, and I am so glad to be with him. He has been nothing but incredible to me, and we have a great relationship. And logically, I know that he wasn't in love with me or anything when he asked me out, as I'm sure he had some idea of how I felt, and he never did anything about it. But it still hurts to think that his feelings towards me were so ambivalent that he needed a goddamn pros and cons list to just ask me out. I can't really talk about this to anyone in my life, as a lot of them already dislike him, and I don't want to bias them anymore. So I thought I would ask here. What can I possibly do? I like to think that I have more self-respect than this, but I really love him and don't want to cause conflict in our relationship over something he definitely didn't think would hurt me. Here are some relevant comments. When asked about receiving a degrading list for her anniversary gift, he can definitely be kind of an idiot at times. From his explanation, it seemed that he wanted to show how far we've come, from just drunkenly hooking up to being in both of our first serious relationships and planning for a long-term future together. And this was the only picture he had, and also, it showed how much we've both grown. He also thought it was funny that he'd needed to make a pros and cons list, and now we are so committed to each other. Also, I didn't mention his virtues because it didn't seem that relevant to the issue at hand. But he has legitimately been a great boyfriend, and he is a great man in general. He's very supportive of everyone around him. He always compliments me and buys me flowers and gifts, and he's never hesitated to drop everything to help me out, even when we were just hooking up. And he's been receptive to any of my concerns about our pasts. He has never been bothering by blocking or unadding or whatever. We also have similar values and goals, and both of our paths are aligning very closely. And thank you. You are right that I need to at least talk to him, as I don't think he's even realized that it bothered me. On why people don't like him. My friends don't really like him, partially because they saw me pine over him for a year, and also because I kept our relationship secret when it started, and they were angry about that. They also think that he is stupid and a womanizer. Some of my friends outside of my main group also don't like him because his frat had a really bad reputation. For what it's worth, though, my family is fine with him. I just don't really speak to them about this kind of stuff. Update. I broke up with him. A lot of people seemed invested in my last post, so I thought I would update. First off, I just wanted to clear up a couple of things. 1. No, he isn't the only man I've ever been with. I did lose my virginity to him, but I've been with plenty of men other than him after that. 2. No, he didn't rape me the first time we slept together. I was drunk, but not blacked out, and I'm the one who told him to come over. I consented, and I enjoyed it and continued talking to him afterwards. 3. No, I don't have any STDs. I get regularly tested, and he's never given me anything, even though we often didn't use protection when we were just hooking up, including the first time. Now for the actual update. Everyone's comments were a real wake-up call. I did already realize, at least somewhat, that the entire time we'd known each other before dating, he had treated me like crap, but I justified being with him by saying that he'd changed because I'd won him. But the pros and cons list made me realize really just how little he thought of me, and giving it to me made me think that he still felt the same way towards me. It also made me realize that in his mind, he was settling for me, and that he probably only really liked me for the things I did for him. I also realized that although that was fine for a little, he is really hot, to be honest. I definitely didn't want to have kids or spend the rest of my life with a man who didn't actually like or respect me. I also did make my own list, as some of the comments said, which made me realize how much I was willing to overlook for an attractive man. I would never give it to him, because even though a lot of people seem to think I don't really love him, I do care about him a lot for some reason, and would never do anything to hurt him. But here is the list. Pros: 6 feet 2 inches, big, attractive, popular, good job and makes lots of money, close to family, can be sweet, pays for things, submissive. Cons: non-player character, has no hobbies or interests, drinks a lot, clearly doesn't respect me, kind of stupid. Not interesting, hardly an intellectual, not well read, don't have a lot to talk about together, friends don't like him, not good in bed. My list made me realize that not only does he kind of have nothing going for him, but being with him also reflects pretty terribly on myself and my values. I'm not really ashamed of myself because I met him when I was 18, but I hope I will not be this shallow of a person for my whole life. So I broke up with him this morning over coffee. He wasn't really upset and was just kind of like, damn okay. He did try to convince me to stay, but I was firm and we are officially broken up. I blocked him on everything because I have no self-respect when it comes to him, and I have no doubt he would try to booty call me soon if I didn't. My friends are all actually thrilled and are hosting a party for me tonight. My family was also pretty relieved. They didn't hate him, but they thought he was really stupid, and I think they're happy I won't be polluting the family lineage with idiocy on that level. So thank you everyone for the wake-up call. I guess I will see how adult life without him in it goes.